Little quick background on me. Was really fortunate to travel around the world as a kid, and then when I graduated high school when I was 16, and I had an option to take a music scholarship at UNCG, playing the flute. Of course, you look at me and you're like, "That's a flautist." First chair, by the way. I'm competitive, right? Yeah. Or I could join the army, and I chose the army, right? Because I wanted to go on some fun adventures, and I was really fortunate to be able to do that and learn some cool lessons after that. After that, I went on a contract and then fell in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and was able to fight and win around the world. That one super pixelated picture with me strangling a person, I don't know if you can see that. Right, that's me winning the European Cup. Some of you know Dave Gonzalez. Anybody raise your hand if you know Dave Gonzalez? Give a hand for him. Yeah, there you go. There's me. DG, coaching DG to win North Americans. And there's also Cody Pfister from the Ultimate Fighter Show. Give a quick clap if you know UFC. All right, Ultimate Fighter Show, yay. And utilizing these the same strategies that I had learned from some fantastic mentors on how to ingest information really quickly to the point of being able to implement and turn it into something that you can use real fast, right? All right. Ooh, these are all pixelated. All right. Hard to see, right? But those same strategies actually took me on to be able to take our teams to be able to win with 3 times more points than second place as far as our fighters are concerned, made us the number 1 winningest team in the state of Texas, right? Which is a pretty big state, period, right? Boom. All right. So we'll chat about some of these things. When I first opened our first facility inside of the industry average is 6 to 10 new members per month, right, inside of our industry. It's not super sophisticated, right? It's pretty much a nice holdover from the 70s, right? You open up a place, you put down some mats, you put up a sign, and you're like, hey, people come in, right? Which is really funny, right? Because you see lots of people failing with that. You have guys who have been in the UFC or on pay-per-view fights. They have, tens and tens and tens of thousands of fans, and then they open up a location, and then they close their location 6 months later, right? Or they hang on by a thread, right, for a long time. When I first opened our first location, I was really fortunate to have had some previous businesses, and very quickly we were able to 10x the industry average, and then 20x the industry average, right? Now, there's a few things that a lot of people come to me about, because over that time, I would post my results. I'd be like, screenshot, here's what we're doing. And then other owners would be like, well, can I curse on this one? All right, how the F are you doing that, right? And I'd be like, man, I will show you, right? So I put a program together, a coaching program. I told them, all right, guys, I'm going to take a program, 20 people for $19.95. For 6 weeks, you have access to me, right? 2 times a week, right? I'm going to have a presentation for you at the beginning of the week, and then you'll do a frequently asked question, a Q&A at the end of the week, and I'm going to help you replicate the exact same thing that I'm doing inside of my business, because you're like, I definitely want that. I want to grow. I want to be able to take a vacation. I want to be able to, I see you guys doing these awesome things, Mikal. Show us how to do it. So I said, okay. So I signed up 20 people, right, because a lot of people wanted it. 3 of those people refunded, and I was like, cool, no problem, before the program started. Here you go. So I had 17 people. Of those 17 people, 3 of them showed up to every single session. And those people, they doubled and tripled their businesses in 6 weeks. The rest of the people didn't, right? So I found out later when I talked to some other coaches, like, good job, that was successful. I didn't realize that, so I shut the program down, right? I was like, I wasn't looking at those 3 people. I was looking at the rest. I did exit surveys with them and asked them, what was getting in your way? And it was really interesting what I heard, right? The things that I heard were things like, I got to fight with my wife, right? Or I had some issues in the space, or I had, honestly, at the end of the day, it was a bunch of excuses, right? The copy was too complicated. I wasn't sure how to do this or that. All these things are all excuses. So we decided to reopen the program as a done-for-you service. Right? You just get out of the way, right? And we will manage and take care of driving the leads, copying and pasting our process, right? Because our specialty is getting butts in seats, not just to get leads, because everybody was doing that, right? The issue was that it was hard to get people to show up for these other people, right? So that was our thing. We started helping them get people to show up. And as we did that, we noticed that they had a whole host of other issues that were really getting inside of their way, right? Give me leads. You gave them leads, and then they weren't calling them. All right, have them show up, right? Yeah, they started showing up, and there were a whole host of other issues. So we started coaching again, right? But we coaching from a different perspective, right? Ideas around how to improve your business, of course, while those leads are coming in, right? Business hack is number one is that notifications matter, right? I think notifications are super important because a lot of people, they focus on communicating with their prospects and marketing to their prospects. But as you start to develop a team, and you should develop a team, right? Especially in our industry, there's a bunch of solopreneurs. I've got this one guy, he's the head coach, right? And then he's got maybe some free work, right, going on with some of his students. And the issue is with that is you can never take a break, right? You're totally stuck, and it caps your ability to be able to perform, right? Anybody ever been in that situation? Any solopreneurs? Cool, right? One of the first things we did with my clubs was create a system where we were able to build and develop a team super quickly, right? We raised registrations, and we gave a piece of that to our sales team, and we started to create notifications to empower the sales team, and our position as a company was to sell leads to the coaches inside of our business, right? And when we created notifications around that, it empowered them to be able to work all day, right? Which is really cool. Another thing that was really important, right, is automating those conversations. A lot of our clients were really, really good at having the conversation, but they weren't good at starting the conversation, right? So what we were able to do was create a type of frequently asked questions and knowledge base, right? So that middle of funnel, after somebody is interested, whatever degree they're interested in, they would be able to jump into either a bot conversation, or if they ask a question that's not automated inside of the bot, then they can have a conversation with somebody live, right? Which was huge, right? Because then they get to have a conversation with the business owner, and he gets to be able to promote and kind of push them forward a little bit, right? Hack number 3 was testing, right? Now, at this point, we're doing all the testing for them. We started this year, I'd say, with a goal to do over 14,000 tests, right? And we are on target for that, right? I could do a bunch of like hacks around how. Oh, raise your hand if you're an agency owner in here. There's a few people, all right? Raise your hand if you're a business owner and you are looking for more help with your ads. Okay, great. All right, if you're a business owner and you're looking for help with your ads, I would say that one of the best things that you can do, I know this is gonna maybe rub some people raw, right? One of the best things you can do if you don't have an agency is for you to find somebody to work with, right? Period, right? Oh, I have issues with that. I understand. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to actionable data, right, the success goes to the person with the more data, right? And when we're able to pull, and I tell this to our facility owners all the time, if I open a location in your local area, I'm not just using the data, it's not your data versus my data. I'm using data from clubs all over the US, Canada, and UK, right, to identify exactly what the appropriate audience is, with really small ranges, to make sure that we convert really, really quickly on our broad audience before we start attacking your specific audience as well, right? The reason we're able to do that is because we're constantly doing tests, right? And I think, and there's somebody in every industry that kind of does that, right? If you focus on testing, if you're an agency owner, of course, I'm sure you're testing. If you're not, you should be, right? And you should put a goal and a quota on that, right? So I saw some agency owners. You guys anybody have any quotas for how many tests you guys run? No? That was one of the best pieces of advice I ever received, right? Because as soon as we did that, it empowered, for us to have some more real objective data, but it also empowered our teams to be able to do some really interesting stuff, right, around driving traffic and collecting those people, and also converting them to actual showing people. All right, Business hack number 4. So when we started driving these leads and getting them to show up, right? I'll backtrack real quick. When we started sending leads to clients, a really interesting thing started happening. They started piling up inside of this beautiful CRM that we kind of built for them, and inside of the to contact section. We'd have a 15-minute chat every week and say, hey, here are your stats, look at this click-through rate, look at these landing pages, man, but look at your show rate. Your show rate's horrible. Why do you think that is, right? Oh, well, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. They weren't calling their clients. So we launched a call center. And we started calling the clients for them and setting their appointments right inside of their calendar. And then once we solved that issue, we noticed another serious issue. Is that they didn't know how to close. And a lot of people had this interesting relationship with the idea of sales, right? Anybody ever introduced or met anybody that had that issue? Anybody had an issue with sales before? Right? Absolutely. All right, so for us, I'd say the biggest turning point for our clients, and honestly for our own sales team, was when we positioned it instead of sales from a position of influence and coaching, right? If somebody comes into one of our funnels, they've gone through a bunch of hoops, right? They've entered a lot of information, they've chatted really quickly about their goals, right? And when they show up, the first thing we do is make sure that we get deep into exactly what those goals mean and how that affects them inside of their lives. Most people in the industry, they're like, hey, here's a schedule, here's how much it costs, let's sign up, right? I'm cool, you're cool, let's do this. And it's kind of ridiculous, right? Because ultimately, inside of our business, it's a relationship business, right? I'm going to see you. It's like a used car where I sell you and I'm statistically not going to see you again. I'm statistically going to see you again tomorrow, right, for us to train and for me to fulfill the thing I just promised on, right? Which means that you have to sell yourself daily. So we've created a bunch of systems to collect information on on exactly what that person's goal is and how it's going to affect their lives. We input it inside of our system, and then we continue to market to our existing clients to remind them about their goals and about what inspired them to come in the first place, right? Which is really important because there's a lot of different closing methods. My favorite, of course, is the logic close because it's logical, right? Which is, you said you want to do this. Now you're attempting to change your mind about doing the thing you said you want, and then I help you find a bridge to get out of your own way so you can do the thing that you said you want. Now, some people call that selling. I just call that coaching. We're just getting the money out of the way in the beginning. There's a bunch of other stuff we're going to have to get out of the way, specifically in jiu-jitsu and MMA. But I've noticed that it's the same for our clients in other industries as well, right? What did you want to get out of this in the first place? I'll tell you what, because I wrote it down, right? You said you want this. Is that right? Yeah, you're right. But time, that's bullshit. Yeah, okay, you're right. And it allows the person the opportunity to have agency and make their own decision over and over and over again, not based on what you said, but based on what they said to themselves. We go over lots of different ways to train our teams and our clients to be able to perform this, but I'd say it's the most authentic type of selling that you can find, right? Because you're influencing people authentically to do something that they want to do, and when they say no, you just remind them about what they wanted to do in the first place. All right, business hack number 5. This is actually really cool. This is one of the things that we do with our clients. They're called gratitude calls, right? How many of you have members, like some kind of continuity inside of your programs? Great. And one of the first things that we've noticed with our clients is that they're so focused on driving new traffic and getting members that they forget about the money that's in a banana stand. Right? Any Arrested Development fans? There you go. Money's in the banana stand. All right. Some of you guys will get that. YouTube it. Right. They forget about all of the success that is in the existing members that they currently have. This is actually really common across a lot of different industries. Hey, we're best friends, and you sign them up, and then it's like, okay, I'll see you never, right? It's kind of ridiculous, and it's across a bunch of different industries because people are so focused on driving new leads and getting new members, not realizing that it is cheaper to keep the people you have, and it's also cheaper to turn those raving fans into more members, right? So one thing that we've implemented with our facilities and with our clients is teaching them and their teams how to perform gratitude calls, right? Now, it's not totally altruistic, right? But it allows for an opportunity for several things. For one, for the member to feel some genuine gratitude, right? When one of your team members calls them up and says, hey, utilizing one of our scripts, of course, hey, such and such, I was talking with my coach, and they wanted us to call some of our clients who really we feel like we've been making an impact with, and they made an impact on us. And I'd love to chat with you a little bit. Do you have a moment, right? They chat with you, and then you ask them how that's actually impacted their lives, and then ask them things that can be improved inside of the system. And then, my favorite part, you ask them for referrals. You wouldn't believe. This is not a digital marketing hack, by the way, right? So I know it may not be as sexy, right, to some people. But it's definitely a hack that increases our clients' businesses by a large degree, just by creating these gratitude calls. Now, of course, you can automate the calendar appointment to set those up, and we definitely do that. But this is a real human touch point, right? A real human call to your member to connect with them, to offer them the opportunity to become more deeply embedded in your program, and also the opportunity to share it with some more friends, and then just take their names and numbers, and then go from there. One of the cool things we do for some of our clients is we actually make landing pages with a picture of that person who was making those referrals, and we'll send those out, and they'll post those onto their Facebook fan page and a whole host of other places. So people kind of opt into those as their referrals. Pretty cool, right? Another hack that we like to talk about is throwing contests, right? Now, you talk about throwing contests with your prospects, right? But one of the best hacks that we have been able to do is throw contests with our existing members to refer new members. I actually have a video, it's not on this one, where a really nice lady took a trip to Scotland just by winning one of our referral contests, right? She referred enough members that she won about $4,500, right? This is at a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu facility. She made us close to $50K, right? That was an awesome, awesome contest, right? And I think a lot of people aren't utilizing that awesome opportunity, right? When I ask clients, like, when's the last time you threw a contest, right? Oh, they'll tell me all kind of different things. It's usually I haven't ever thrown one, right? But when they do, what do you put on the hook for that contest? Oh, we have Xbox, or we have this crazy thing. You know the thing that we have, and we've tested this. The thing we've found that works the best is cash. It's money. Yes, give them cash. Sorry, I hurt the guy back in the back, right? Yes, it's money, right? So we create first, second, third place prizes, and you wouldn't believe, again, this is another example of your members being inside of your existing program. And if you're not throwing these type of contests, you're pretty much throwing money away. I know we could sit and we could talk about driving traffic and pay-per-click traffic, and we could talk about all these kind of things. If you're going to do that, I honestly would suggest you talk to a black belt, right? Go to an agency that really knows what they're doing. They're going to outperform you, outperform circles around you, right? It just is what it is, right? You put a black belt against a white belt, right? Statistically, one of those people is going to come out unscathed, right? It works all over the place. If you want to talk about hacks to increase revenue, which is ultimately, I think, that's the reason people are marketing, right? You're attempting to increase the revenue inside your organization. If that's something that you would like to do, I would say let that professional do that, and then you start focusing on interacting with the business and with the members and the people inside of it, and make the best out of your specialty, right? Which is being you, being the founder, right? Being the person who had the grand idea to start the organization in the first place. And so you can focus more on that and allow someone who's a professional focus more on the other part. Throwing contests also empowers you to be able to have more awesome gratitude calls and get more awesome referrals and create excitement around your brand and increase retention, right? I talked to this one client. He was like, man, I think I'm doing close to what you guys are doing, so I just like to check out some of the things. He was kind of kicking tires. I hear you guys are doing like 80 to 100 plus members a month. I mean, we're doing about 50, which is pretty cool. And I was like, oh, that's cool, man. Is that 50 net or 50 gross, right? Right? He was like, so of course gross, right, being that's the total members, right? And then net new members, meaning that you are taking into consideration cancellations, you're taking into consideration non-renewals, and you're taking, the one people don't want to talk about, you're taking into consideration delinquencies, right? People who just didn't pay that month, right? These are all real situations that happen, and they bring your gross down, and that gross number is so sexy, right? But it's important for us to talk about the elephant in the room that people oftentimes don't want to talk about, which is the net. What's your net? That's my net new members. What's your net new members? We took that into consideration. The guy was doing less than 10, right? This is a really important concept, because the question was, what are you doing if you're bringing in 50 gross new people a month, and only 10 of those are actual net new members? What are you doing to romance your existing people? And how much would that cost? Right? I mean, I get it. I'm an agency. Sure, I would love to run your ads, but there's some other issues going on in the land of Oz, right? And it's important for us to make sure we address those. We're going to increase your new members, of course, but we have to make sure that we supplement that by plugging up the holes that are going on inside of your membership and inside of your business. All right, business hack number 7. All right, we're jumping back into team stuff, right? So team cards. This is a cool baseball card. I'm a baseball fan. Anybody else? Any other baseball? Cubs? Go Cubs? Just me? Okay, there you go. All right. This is a really important concept for teams that we were able to run. And I actually learned this working on a teams unit in the military, right? Knowing your stats is extremely important, right? Because that kind of gives you an idea on the pecking order. And if that concept of pecking order hurts your feelings, well, oh well, right? And you should definitely organize that inside of your business so you can know who your MVP is. And who your MVP is in all different types of situations. One cool hack that we have employed is we've created templated sales cards, right? And performance cards for our team members. They know who closed the most women, who closed the most men, who closed the most parents, who closed the most Facebook leads, who closed the most Google leads, right? And those all interact with our internal contests that we throw with our teams so that they can try to improve their stats, right? Because if you have a 300 batting average in our company, you get a bonus. Yay, right? You're the arbiter of your fate, but they have to be there inside of the team stats cards, right? This empowers your team to compete with each other. What do you think happens when your team, right, starts to compete against each other to improve their stats and therefore improve your company, your business, your bottom line? This is an important concept. And again, this is not, I'd say, a digital marketing hack. But if you don't have a team, get one. And if you do have a team, it's important for you to resolve how that team is going to be able to do 10x what they thought they could do, right? And a big part of that is allowing them the opportunity to know their numbers, know their trends, and it also gives you an idea on where you need to coach and serve those people, right? Because if we have one of our guys who's really messing up, you have a low conversion rate with the ladies, man, right? Let's make sure we adjust and sit down on your conversations to make sure you're speaking directly to that person, right? If you have a low conversion rate with parents, well, let's sit down and listen to some of your calls, listen to some of your sales, and figure out how we can help you to increase your stats and therefore increase the bottom line of the company. This is a really important concept. And as I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, I don't see very many of them looking at their team as a client that they have to serve, right? And then creating systems and tools to be able to better serve that client. One of the most important clients you have, honestly. Now we're going to digital marketing stuff. Fix your landing page, All right. So this is a really important concept. So okay, we can drive all the leads and create the most beautiful. I'll show you some use cases in just a moment where we're able to get clients 23 to 1 and 40 to 1 conversion. That's a 4,000%, right? That's a cart, right? And help some of our clients hit like a 20x, right? 10x and 15x, where we are as far as new members, net new members per month, right? Which is a really important concept. But one of the things we first find out, we are kind of dip our toe in. Sure, we'll run ads for you. We love to take control of the entire process. Oh no, I think I got a guy, or I'm gonna do it myself, right? and one of the first things we find is that when we create these awesome, beautiful ads that are converting to great audiences, they land on a landing page, and if that doesn't convert, right, then it doesn't matter how cool your ads are, right? It doesn't matter how cool your message is. But I did this cool Facebook Live, I did this cool whiz-bang thing somebody told me to do, right? Or I'm using MiniChat, right? And none of that stuff matters unless you have a landing, I know this is creative landing page, but a landing page that converts, which sometimes is ugly, right? The interesting thing, one of our highest converting landing pages, sometimes clients see it and they're like, that is an ugly landing page. Why would that work, right? Which is an interesting concept because we used to use door knockers, right? We still use those sometimes, where we'd pay somebody a little bit to go into neighborhoods and just put a bunch of those door hangers, right, across those neighborhoods. And there'll be a little standalone website, right, they can go to, and it's super ugly. It's like bright orange and all this kind of stuff like that, right? People are like, oh, that'll never work. The reason it worked, I think, is because it was ugly. In fact, we asked people, right? I'm like, what? What did you like about that? I didn't like anything about it. It was ugly. Yeah, you came in here, though, right? Didn't you? So the interesting thing, there's some best practices concepts, and they don't necessarily have to do with making it pretty, right? They have to do with making it functional, right? I'd say half of the clients we work with, they don't have a direct offer above the fold, right? Some of them don't have one at all, right? They definitely don't want to have one above the fold. Just ask, right? Want to go on a date? Here you go. Enter this information in, right? Press submit. Go from there. It's not that much more complicated. Sometimes people are making it too complicated. I'm a believer in the minimalist concept. I want to put as little as possible, right? And so that you can make the decision if you want to proceed with that type of relationship. And we'll go from there. Number 8, retention is key. I can't punctuate this enough, right? Raise your hand if you know your numbers on attritions. I see 2 people. Kind of? Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is really, really important KPI, key performance indicator, onto how your business is doing, right? Because if you are, let's actually jump back real quick. When we talk about attritions, we measure them in a couple different ways, right? Based on the previous month, month to month, and month to the last year, right? And we also have a trend line based on the quarter, right, which is really important because sometimes you can have a slow leak, right, which is, I think, one of the most dangerous types of retention leaks, right? When you just lose a little bit every month, it was 4%, and 5%, and 8%, and 7%, right? And then and over time, you start realizing, why does it feel like it's so hard for me to get uphill? Why is it so hard for me to get over this new goal that I have set? It's almost always retention, right? Because you're packing people in the front, but you are not serving them on the back. I'm a believer that once your organization gets to a certain level, it's important to have somebody focus on that nonstop, right? For us, that's a community success liaison is what we call those people, right? Which is a whiz-bang word for make sure I keep my members, right? Those type of people focus on throwing membership appreciation parties, making sure that members get their automated gifts, right? Which is important if you're not giving gifts to your members, just a random-ish gift, right? If you're not doing that, then you are not romancing and reinvesting in that relationship, right? And if you're not doing that, somebody else will, right? Which is a really important thing for you to be honest with yourself about. Oh, they'll never leave me. Oh, they will leave you, right? It happens, right? It's a really important concept. So if you're not focusing on retaining your existing people, then I'd say you're making a big misstep. And that's an awesome hack to first make sure you know your numbers, and then two, make sure you're engaging with those people. Another really cool hack that you're able to do that is to do audits quarterly, right? Now, when we perform an audit, we go backwards and look at our codes, right? There's two main types of codes that we have, right? We have sales codes and we have retention codes. So if somebody cancels, immediately, one of our success liaisons will chat them up and find out why, right? We have a Trello cards created and attempt to save, they have checklist, all that kind of good stuff. But we'll put them inside of a card, and then at the beginning of the next quarter, we will look at all the cards and identify which cards existed to the highest degree. What was the reason people canceled the most? And then we'll create a new program around how to resolve that for them. Right? And then we'll honestly make an offer back to those past people to try to recollect them again, which is, again, another automation that I see a lot of people just not utilizing. It's a past member, it's over, we're done, as opposed to putting them into another funnel, right, where you can make them another offer that speaks to their specific issue because you have their card code on why they canceled, right? This is, again, super important hack. Other thing we do, by the way, with our sales cards, right, is when people say no to the initial offer. Inside of those, we create card codes for those people and put them into separate funnels for follow-up as well. Because if they said no, they showed up. Listen, if they enter their information in, and then they set an appointment, and then they showed up to an appointment, and then they listened to a proposition, and they went through a tour, and then they said no, that means they're really interested. Right? They want to do this. They just need to get out of their way. And as long as you understand what that code was, right, then you're able to put them in a funnel to speak to them and get them to bring them in for another session and help them sign up. Again, another issue that people are just flat out. And by the way, the things I'm talking about right now, quite a few, they don't really require an additional investment. Who would like to get more members and keep more members without spending more money? Man, if that doesn't get you fired up, your wood is wet. Raise your hand if you would like more members for less money, right? Okay, excellent. Great. You're welcome, right? This is a sweet hack. And of course, number 10, plan tomorrow, today, right? This is a really, that's the same one. All right, plan tomorrow, today is a really important concept that we utilize inside of our organizations because at any given time, we're about 3 months ahead, right, on the content that we're about to push out, right? It's allowed us to be more current and present with our members and with our clients across multiple different industries, and it's allowed us the ability to start to identify what real issues are happening live instead of being reactionary. And be like, oh, a fire, I have to put it out, fire, I have to put it out, right? We organize these as parties that we throw for our teams, right, where they get to do brainstorming and take part in creating the next quarter, right, creating the next year. This is ridiculously important. When we empowered our teams to be able to, by the way, part of your quarterly review is based on how many tests you ran. When we empowered our teams to be able to run their own tests, and we empowered our teams to be able to brainstorm new ways to hit their goals, they were able to create some stuff that honestly I didn't see coming, right? Which was awesome for the bottom line, right? Some quick breakdown. For the agency side of things, so some of the things I've talked about so far have been hacks that you can do inside of your business, right? Regardless of being an ace at marketing, right? You don't have to necessarily have 20 years experience. You have to buy all these copy courses. I mean, I'm not to spare you. Buy copy courses, right? Do your thing, right? You don't necessarily have to be a black belt at any of those things to be able to perform the hacks that I just talked about. You just have to take the time, put it inside of your calendar, sit down, and then just implement one new tool a week, right? And when you do that, your business will grow pretty quickly. On the ad side, of course, you want somebody who's a professional to be able to take care of those things. This is an example. One of our clients, I think they blurred out the name. There you go. We're able to get them anywhere from 23 to 40 to 1 conversions. It's like a 4,000 ROAS, which is pretty cool, right? And we're able to do that. This is a Shopify cart. We're able to do that with utilizing some pretty interesting community engagement to get people to utilize the systems that we use inside of our facilities to sell more members, right? And sell more product. And of course, there's actually a picture of one of our clubs, right? Everybody hanging out. Some of you might see some friends from quite a few internet marketers actually there inside of the picture. And in order to build that kind of organization, I think a lot of people are so focused on bringing new members that they forget you're building an organization and building a team. If you focus on that from the perspective of bringing people in, maintaining, retaining people, and getting those people to turn in to create new members, with that overarching mindset, then you'll be able to build a community that you otherwise didn't think was available. And if you're not building communities in today's market, then you're going to be out of business, I think, right? Anyway, thank you all so much. If you're interested in checking out some more of our free hacks, or sitting down and maybe having me hook you up with some of our free hacks and tips on the conventional side or on the digital marketing side, shoot me a text. That'll be the easiest way. Actually, if you would like for me to hook you up with some hacks, raise your hand. Okay, great. And now grab your phone. Yep, grab it. Now I got time. I'll wait. All right, there you go. No, we don't have time. Raise your phone. All right. Shoot a text right now to 512-939-1866. And take a quick selfie and then say, you said you'd hook me up with 50% off. We'll have a chat. If we can serve you some way, or one of our partners can, then we'll hook you up. And at the very minimum, we'll hook you up with we'll do an environmental scan on what you're doing inside of your business, and then hook you up with some of our best practice hacks that'll be able to take you to the next level. Thank you so much.